You're watching Commander's Demand with your host, Sports PSP, exclusively on the Grid Network.
Yo, what is up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Welcome to another episode of Commander's Demand. As you all know, folks, it's a podcast in which your boy Sports PSP discusses things surrounding the Washington Commanders. Please go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, please like and subscribe to my social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Hope everyone is enjoying a marvelous summer. Spend as much time as you can outside, out on the basketball court or out on the beach or whatever it is that you're doing. Just be around loved ones, be around friends and family. Matter of fact, go take some time, go hop on the pool or whatever. So, folks, man, enjoy as much time. I really do not want to talk about this because I hate dwelling on the past. And it's regarding an article from ESPN. From ESPN's, I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due. Don Van Natta Jr. and Seth Wickersham. It's a report in which Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the National Football League, as well as Commanders owner Daniel Snyder, accused of leaking emails from former Raiders head coach John Gruden that led to his departure from the Raiders. Look, back in October of 2021, John Gruden, who joined the Raiders back in 2018 after spending his time in ESPN being a color analyst for Monday Night Football on ESPN, joined the Raiders. I think he signed a 10-year, $100 million contract. In October of 2021, he was forced to re-sign from the Oakland Raiders after emails of him using homophobic as well as misogynistic language. At the time, Daniel Snyder, the owner of the Washington Commanders, he and the organization, they were accused, and there was an investigation of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct in the workplace in which Snyder was accused of for so long. John Gruden, according to the Wall Street Journal, used a racial slur against NFLPA DeMaurice Smith, saying that, calling him Dumb Boris, and saying that he has lips the size of Michelin tires. And then the New York Times later released an article breaking down Gruden using homophobic and misogynistic language. John Gruden had his eye on Commissioner Goodell. Back then he filed a lawsuit against the league, also claiming that Roger Goodell, reading an article here from CBS Sports from Jordan Dajani, created a, quote, malicious and orchestrated campaign to leak the damning emails. Believe it or not, folks, not only Roger Goodell is being accused of these emails, Daniel Snyder, I'm going to read you this last sentence right here. The U.S. House of Representatives Oversight Committee, on the other hand, released a report indicating Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder was the perpetrator. This is the rest of the article that I'm reading from CBS Sports, Jordan Dajani. If Snyder was to leak, his dirty bomb blew up in his face. He recently finally agreed to sell the Commanders after a very tumultuous after a very let me read it right here. After a very tumultuous few years, something many believed he would never do. According to a lengthy piece published by ESPN on Wednesday, Snyder may have been able to remain team owner if it were not for the Gruden email leaks. And this is what a source close to Snyder told ESPN. He was free and clear that October. He had just wait out his suspension and left everything blown over. The source close to ESPN is again told the source close to Snyder told ESPN. It goes further. A major miscalculation. Without the leaks, he might have just survived. Now, according to NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy, the NFL and Roger Goodell have denied the allegations of leaking the John Gruden emails, as well as Daniel Snyder's attorney. And according to ESPN, 4 unnamed owners claim that Snyder knew exactly what he was doing as far as leaking the emails. They accuse Snyder of allegedly sending the emails. Here are my thoughts regarding the whole situation. I don't like to touch on this subject because, again, I've told y'all how I feel before about Daniel Snyder. I want him gone. I want him removed, and I just feel like he was the reason that he was holding the organization back. Now, again, if these accusations are true, then it is what it is. But at the same time, when I look at John Gruden, the reason why, even if it was true, here's how I look at it with John Gruden. He was let go because A, the emails, which were offensive, which were homophobic, which were misogynistic and racist. And then on top of that, his production. It's easy to let go of somebody who is unproductive, as well as someone who is, dare I say, toxic. And I don't know whether it's true or not. Still, it does not absolve John Gruden for saying the things that he said in those emails. And the other thing that I have a problem with, the 4 anonymous owners. Why are you not putting your name out there? If this is true, according to you, if you say Daniel Snyder had something to do with this, why don't you say anything? Are you afraid of the repercussions? Reading the comments here. It's my boy Dev, and definitely we're gonna have you on the podcast soon, my man. And I definitely want to hear what you have to say regarding the news about this subject. If you feel free to weigh in, but again, that's up to you. Again, if these anonymous owners, you got to put your name out there. What are you afraid of? Daniel Snyder is going to sell the team to Josh Harris, who's the part owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, part owner of the New Jersey Devils. What are you afraid of? Why won't you put your name out there? Are you afraid of the repercussions from Commissioner Goodell or Daniel Snyder? Are you afraid that Daniel Snyder might take legal action against y'all? Like, what are you afraid of? Whether if it's true or not, it still doesn't excuse or absolve John Gruden with the emails and what he said to Bruce Allen, the former president of the Washington Commanders. The reason why is because Washington at the time, the reason why we wanted to know about the emails, because again, Washington was accused of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment in the workplace that also involved Daniel Snyder. If this, whether if it's true or not, it still doesn't excuse or let John Gruden off the hook. He said what he said in those emails. And if you read the things that he described, calling Roger Goodell, which I will not say. All I can tell you to do is just go look it up and see for yourself in which language, very derogatory, homophobic, offensive. Whether if it's true or not, it still doesn't let John Gruden off the hook. And look, the NFL and Daniel Snyder, their parties have come out. As I said, the spokesperson said that the NFL denies the allegations, as well as Daniel Snyder's attorney. So that's all I'm going to leave it on. Really uncomfortable subject for me to discuss, but at the same time, folks, it is what it is. I have to speak on it. So I'm gonna leave it there. So I got my boy Dev. He's gonna be on the podcast. He's gonna be on. Matter of fact, let me add him on right here. Let's see if I could try to get him on. Let's see. Hold on. Sorry, folks. I'm still not the greatest in the world when it comes to social media. Hold on. Let me see if I could try to fix it up. My fault, Dev. I'm still not the greatest in the world when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah, man, take your time, dog. Take your time.
But anyway, man, we'll just rock with whatever we got to work with. We'll improve it. But Dev, my man, thank you for hopping on. For those who may not know who Dev is, he has a podcast called At the Bank Podcast, in which he discusses things about the Baltimore Ravens, and we're definitely going to discuss about the Baltimore Ravens in just a sec, man. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Just got done working out. You know, hitting the courts a little bit, so I'm feeling real good. How about you?
No, I'm glad you hitting up the ball course too. That's what I've been doing in the meantime in this summer. You know, just trying to enjoy my summer, take it one day at a time, man. How's life, man? How's everything going?
Man, life is going good, man. Can't complain, man. You know, the kids just got done having their graduation. My son's birthday was yesterday, so everything is going good. I can't complain.
Oh man, I mean, by the way, congratulations to your kids' graduation, man. That's what's up. It's always important for the kids to graduate, you know, get that education, do whatever they got to do, man. Um, you heard what I had to say regarding the whole news regarding Roger Goodell, Daniel Snyder. I don't know if you heard of it. According to a report from ESPN, Roger Goodell, the commissioner, and Daniel Snyder were accused of leaking emails from John Gruden that led to his departure. As you know, in October of 2021, John Gruden was let go of the Las Vegas Raiders. He was forced to resign from the team because of the emails of him using homophobic, racist, misogynistic language. What's your
Mhm.
thoughts about that? And before I let you have the floor, I want to give a shout out to my man Brandon Tillman. What up, guys? Flock Nation. You know,
Big
we're gonna
trust,
talk
big.
about the Ravens, man. So what's your thoughts about the report from what I told you?
Um, it's not. There's no room in the NFL for that, and I hate for a person that gets forced out of his job. But if John Gruden is going back doing all these misogynistic emails and stuff like that, man, there's no place. You are there to coach. You're not there to make judgments of anybody or belittle anybody in that nature. You are there to coach a group of guys to ultimately win a goal is the Super Bowl. So
Mm-hmm.
all that, them emails, it's no room in the game for this. It's I believe that majority of these owners or some of these high power coaches can get away with certain stuff. And like I said, I hate for John Gruden to be forced out, but there's no room for trying to belittle or being misogynistic to people.
Right. I mean, whether if the allegations are true or not, the bottom line is he said what he said in those emails. You know,
Mm-hmm.
him calling DeMaurice Smith Demboris and saying he has lips the size of Michelin tires. And then after that, you know, as I mentioned, the New York Times highlighted, broke down the story of him using homophobic and misogynistic language. Two
Right.
things we don't know whether Daniel Snyder or Roger Goodell got involved, but at the same time, that still doesn't excuse John Gruden for what he said.
Mm-mm.
Bottom line. So I'm glad that we spoke about this, man. But as you know, football season. It's almost
coming.
around the corner, my man.
It's coming.
Now, how do you feel about your Ravens, dog? I know you are a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about Lamar Jackson in just a second, but how do you feel about the team overall?
So far, I'm feeling real good about this year team. Getting rid of Greg Roman and starting over with a new offensive coordinator and starting fresh with a new voice. Also, check out that episode on my At the Bank podcast, A New
Will do.
Voice. Todd Monken we needed that, and I believe that this is going to open up Lamar's potential of him reclaiming another MVP on this list.
Speaking before we get into Lamar in just a second, who do you think the player on your team, in your opinion, is going to have a breakout season? In your opinion,
On the offense or defense side, it doesn't matter.
however, whoever you want.
I'm thinking that Rashard Bateman will have a breakout season because he has more room to move around. I think that he's going to be our number one wide receiver. I think that he's supposed to be our number one wide receiver. So I think bringing in OBJ is going to have a big decoy. I'm not saying that OBJ is always going to be a decoy, but you know that he's going to demand a lot of attention. So if he demanded a lot of attention and our top ranked tight end demands a lot of attention also. So I think that's going to open up Rashard Bateman more in the passing game, and the way Todd Monken is trying to run his offense, I think it's going to fit him best. So I'm thinking that Rashard Bateman is going to have a breakout year this year.
Speaking of Odell, and I think Rashard Bateman, the only problem with him is just durability.
Yes.
But
yes.
when he's healthy, I mean, he's somebody who's got great speed. He's somebody who can definitely contribute. I remember that big game he had week 2 against the Miami Dolphins. I think he has a lot of potential. But I'm glad that you mentioned Odell Beckham Jr. And before, let me get into it real quick. Road Uncensored Network. He said, "My dog Dev, you already know."
My
He
guy
also
Rod right there. Real good dude.
Oh, and Rod's starting to be my boy too. He said Commanders D line is scary. No question about that. And we're going to talk about the Commanders in just a second. And then Brandon responded, "How many years did Washington Commanders sign Eric Bieniemy?" I don't know exactly how many years, but the bottom line is, hell, I'll have him. I believe sooner than later he's going to be the new head coach for the team in the aftermath of Ron Rivera. But speaking of Odell Beckham Jr., he got injured last year. He sat out the entire season. A year after the Rams won the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals. How do you feel about Odell? Because I still think Odell can still contribute, and I definitely think he could be a mentor to not only Rashad Bateman, but also Zay Flowers as well from Boston College. How do you feel about Odell?
I like Odell. Now, the only thing I felt like this a little bit of reach was the money that we gave Odell for that 1 year contract. But when you want somebody as bad, you know what I mean, you go what it takes. You do what it takes to get them. But other than that, I think Odell is a big contributor. I know a lot of our fans know, a lot of us probably thinking that Odell Beckham has to be a number one. I'm trying to tell y'all, he do not have to be a number one. I think Odell Beckham we can still have a good season with him averaging maybe about 550 yards total by the end of the season. He doesn't have to be the explosive Odell Beckham that he was in the Giants. He don't have to try to be the guy that he tried to be in the Browns. And he most definitely don't have to be the guy in the Rams, how he was with the Rams. Like I said, like you mentioned, Zay Flowers. That's going to be a guy that's going to be that deep down the stretch field that can open up some things.
Defense.
Yep. And, it's going to open up more things. Odell Beckham, a lot of people don't give him credit for. He's a good route runner also.
Very good route runner.
If he's still crisp on them routes, then a lot of these DBs is not going to be ready for OBJ this year.
Now, speaking of which, and he finally has a quarterback other than Matthew Stafford to throw him the football. He's got Lamar Jackson. Now, it's been the past couple of seasons, we were like wondering, when is Lamar Jackson? When is the deal finally going to get done? He went on Twitter about months ago telling the Ravens that he wanted to be traded, but ultimately he finally got the deal done. How do you feel about that Lamar is still going to stick around for the Baltimore Ravens?
Finally, man. It's like finally. That deal is about 2.5 years too late, man. But it was a great thing that we signed Lamar. Because like I said, we didn't change our whole identity of our team and offense for it to be Lamar offense. So I think that, like I said, getting rid of Greg Roman. I'm not saying that Greg Roman was a bad offensive coordinator.
Right.
Let me just say that. He opened up things for Lamar to be an MVP. He opened up things for Lamar to even get this big contract. But now that we done switched over to a new offensive coordinator, I think that now Lamar is going to check off the rest of the boxes that the NFL wants to see. Can he hit corner passes? Can he throw on the blitz? Can he read the safety? Stuff like that. And most definitely, can he just be an efficient passer? And I think this is going to be the year that he finally is going to shut a lot of people up.
Were you ever worried or concerned about whether the deal was going to be done? Because a lot of people constantly bring up the fact that, yeah, Lamar Jackson has a great record. He's been to multiple Pro Bowls, won a league MVP, first since Brady to win it unanimously.
Mm-hmm.
But the past couple of years, people constantly bring up them injuries that he had. I've still felt like, look, and I've said this before, I agree with RG3 when Michael Vick said that Lamar should have just strapped up, played in that playoff game against the Bengals. But
Mm-hmm.
RG3 said, look, I know exactly where Lamar is coming from, because before Lamar, you could make an argument RG3 was that dude, that electrifying quarterback. And what
Mm-hmm.
happened in his first and last playoff game that he played against the Seattle Seahawks? He was never the same from taking all those punishments and the knee injuries. And I felt like Lamar made the right choice because
Mm-hmm.
he had to make a business decision. Yeah, I would love to play. And Lamar Jackson, of course, he would want to play. But at the same time, if I do that, it's going to jeopardize my career and it's going to jeopardize my opportunity as far as making the money. So what's your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts about that?
I agree with you. I think Lamar had did the right business decision. You got to take care of yourself because the best ability in the NFL is availability. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're not available due to injuries, and like I said, he was, his availability was terrible or getting bad towards the end of the season, because that was 2 years back to back that he didn't finish the season. But he did the right move because RG3, we seen how he took that hit from Lodi Nada that really
Yeah,
kind of
I
started
forgot to bring about that.
that
That
started
helicopter
that
hit.
injury. You know what I mean? And he tried his best to go out there because he was your face of the franchise during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if he had better voices in his head, in his ear to say like, look, I mean, we already gonna make the playoffs. You already gonna be solidified rookie of the year, all that. Take care of your health. I think we will still see RG3 around a little bit, maybe in the backup role like he was when he came here. But I
Right.
think he would have lasted a little bit longer. But when you try to be that guy, sometimes being that guy just not being that guy.
Yeah, no question about that. I think when I look at Lamar Jackson, he is clearly a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Like, for me, there are quarterbacks I have above him. I have Patrick Mahomes number one. I have
Of
Burrow number
course.
two. I have Josh Allen three. I actually got Jalen Hurts four. I got Justin Herbert five. I got Rodgers six.
Ooh,
What
Justin
what's
Herbert.
your thought? Huh? What's your thought about what? What
I was
Justin?
with you. I was with you for with the first five maybe, but once you threw Justin Herbert in front of him, like
What
how did Justin Herbert get there?
I mean, look, people rave about Justin Herbert. They rave about his arm. They rave about how the way he throws the football and stuff. But a lot of people say that Justin Herbert, they look at the fact, he's surrounded by a bad head coach and Brandon Staley, the defense, and all these other things that they constantly bring up with Justin Herbert. I have Lamar at seventh. I think with the Ravens, if he's healthy, and with that defense, because the Ravens, we all know
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to defense, that's their signature and forte. And I think this could be a great year for Lamar Jackson to throw probably close to 4,000 yards. I think this may be the year he
Mhm.
could get to 4,000 with the new offensive coordinator and the weapons. So not only they took care of Lamar as far as the money, they finally gave him some weapons to work with. So now we can finally end this to bed with Lamar not having any weapons. I think this is a good year for the Ravens to possibly get to the AFC Championship game, because at some point in time, we got to stop seeing Kansas City hosting the AFC and Buffalo, and then there's Cincinnati, there's New York. How do you feel about the Ravens? Do you think they have a great chance of getting to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game?
I think we are the team that have the best ability to dethrone Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs from the
Mm.
AFC. I really do. I think this is the year. Because like you said, this is going to be the year that Lamar throws 4,000 yards. If Lamar can throw 4,000 yards, and he only threw just getting to 3,000 on his MVP year, you know what I
And
mean?
led
That
the NFL in touchdown passes as well. And you
right.
got and we forgetting all the great weapons, except they got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends that we still have in the game. Top 4, top 5, in my
I
opinion.
give him top 2 to me.
Wait, you have him over Kittle?
Yes.
Wow.
I believe that because Kittle, number one, his quarterback play is always up and down. You know what I mean? Even though Kittle is still productive, whatever quarterback he's out there, but I feel like his quarterback play kind of brings him down, and then he have way more weapons than anybody else, really. You know, he has a Debo Samuels, he has a Christian McCaffrey, he has a Brandon Ayuk, he has who else they have? They had like multiple talents on that offensive side. So I feel like George Kittle kind of get lost in that offense a little bit. I feel like he don't put his imprint on the game as much as the Kelsey and the Mark Andrews, in my opinion.
Okay. And lastly, before we move on to the Commanders, John Harbaugh. Now, John Harbaugh, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna relate to him in just a second, as we mentioned the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent head coach, numerous AFC Championship appearances, been
Mm-hmm.
to a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. How do you feel about Harbaugh, man?
I love me some John Harbaugh, man. I believe he actually started this play like a Raven culture, and
Mm-hmm.
he's keeping it going. And it doesn't change. You know, no matter what players come in, what quarterback it is, play like a Raven. And John Harbaugh, only thing he kind of gets me on is sometimes he doesn't take the right points. It's times that you got the greatest kicker on the field, on your
Justin
sideline.
Tucker.
Why not use him at times? Why sometimes you want to keep going this 4th and 5 and stuff like that? This guy made a 65-yarder, one of the strongest legs and one of the most accurate kicker in the world. So why we are not using them at times? So that's the only thing that gets me with John Harbaugh. But yes, I believe that he fits our culture. He should be our coach until his time is up. But also, I believe that this offense is really dependent on John Harbaugh's time with us. I believe that if this offense don't start clicking, I think people will start hunting for his job again.
All right. And I think Justin Tucker has a chance to make it to the Hall of Fame because of how the way he kicks the football and stuff like that. When it comes to kickers, of course, you think Adam Vinatieri.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Tucker has to be up there. I'm not saying he's better than Adam Vinatieri, but if you think of kickers, he has to belong in that category as far as getting to the Hall of Fame. I believe he definitely belongs there.
Most definitely.
So let's talk about some Washington Commanders. And by the way, that is one of the teams that thought about getting Lamar Jackson, but I just didn't see it because Baltimore to DC, and ain't no way in hell Baltimore doing that.
We weren't letting him coming down 95 like that. No way.
They definitely. I mean, it would have been great for Eric Bieniemy, and we're gonna talk about him in just a second. But let's talk about the Commanders. Now, this is a team that is predicted to finish last place in the division. I've been on the record saying that they should tank the rest of the season to try to get their hands on that dude from USC, Caleb Williams, because I feel like Washington too many times they win enough games not to get a top pick, but they don't win enough games to make the playoffs every single year. And when you look at the NFC East, Dallas is better than them. Philadelphia is better than them. The Giants are better than them. I believe this may be the last year for Ron Rivera. And if that's the case, Eric Bieniemy. And the thing, and the reason why I want to talk about Eric Bieniemy so much, because what does he and John Harbaugh have in common? They came from the Andy Reid coaching tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Eric Bieniemy too many times has been treated unfairly. And by the way, hold on. Rod said Commanders not in DC. Yeah, okay, they're
We
in
know,
Landover,
we
Maryland, but
know, we
we
know,
we,
Rod.
we know you ain't got to remind us. But when I think of Eric Bieniemy, he has been accused of not calling the plays on offense. But I've never heard that with John Harbaugh. I've never heard that with Matt Nagy. I've never heard that with Doug Peterson. How do you feel about Eric Bieniemy? Do you think he should be a head coach? I think he should. What's your thoughts about Eric Bieniemy?
Eric Bieniemy should have been a head coach at least 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like teams are overlooking them, and I think that the reason he took this Commander's job is because Ron Rivera was on his last wing. I think that if the Commanders can't get things together within the first quarter of the season, I think that will be Ron's exit out, and I think that will be Eric Bieniemy transition. I honestly think that's the only reason why he took that job.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this may be the end for Ron Rivera, and I appreciate what Ron Rivera has done as far as the defensive side, especially with the defensive linemen that we have: Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. Now, there are two other players on that defensive line that we have to address, which is Montez Sweat, who's possibly going to enter free agency, and then there's Chase Young, of course. Now, there have been reports about him being traded to either the Detroit Lions and one of your arch rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. How do you feel about Chase Young? Should he remain with the Washington Commanders? Because no one has ever doubted or questioned his talent. It's been durability. That's been the issue with Chase Young. How do you feel about him?
I feel like Chase Young most definitely is a great potential for y'all. I think that Chase Young most definitely should. He got to step it up. He most definitely has to step it up this year. It was a rumor. It's also a rumor that it's a potential trade from us to y'all that we'll trade Patrick Queen to for Chase Young. Also,
how do you feel about that?
I like Queen, but we need an edge rusher. So I would take that deal. We need somebody that can get pressure on the quarterback, and that's what Chase Young brings to the table. For y'all, I think that y'all will. I think if Chase Young don't have a good season this year, y'all will choose Montez Sweat over Chase Young, and I think y'all will let Chase Young walk out. If he come to the Steelers, which I hope he don't, because we don't want to deal with Chase Young and TJ Watt. So I really hope that deal don't go through.
And I'm glad, and you said everything that I said. I said if I had a choice between Montez Sweat or Chase Young, I would probably keep Sweat, take care of him, because if I lose Chase Young, I can't lose Montez Sweat, because Montez Sweat is a dude who we stole back in that 2019 draft. We took him with the 26th overall pick. He ran a 4.4 at the combine. Montez Sweat has Pro Bowl potential. This is a dude that can get you double-digit sacks. I think he can get you double-digit sacks. As for Chase Young, if we can't take care of him, fine, let's trade him. I'd rather trade him than lose him for nothing. At least get something in return. We're not going to get a first-round pick in return for Chase Young. I don't know, maybe a fourth or a fifth for Chase Young, and maybe a player, something like that. That's how I look at it with Chase Young. And Rod, again, thank you for the comments. Bieniemy about lineup, Ron Rivera. I asked in the comment section, should Eric Bieniemy be a head coach in the NFL? I mean, look, Ron Rivera, and remember, early on, he had health issues. So we have to factor that in, and he's getting up there in age. I think EB can definitely do a great job with the Commanders' offense. And plus, if he can help this offense, especially with Sam Howell, then we can finally end this to bed about the offensive plays. But I said before, man, and you didn't like it. I thought that Washington should take the rest of the season to try to get their hands on Caleb Williams, who is from DC. But you had a problem with that, Dev. Why's that?
I'm not a big fan of tanking. You know what I mean? If your team suck, you suck. But if you gotta put the best team out there and try to win. You know what I mean? But if that's your MO, man, because I would hate for the Ravens to tank just to get a player. It was like, no, if he falls in our lap.
But you win. That's the thing about y'all. Y'all used
But
to winning.
do you
When's
win?
the last time we've won? We ain't won a championship since 1991.
But that's because of Dan Snyder.
Era for far too long.
But I believe once Snyder leaves that building, that bad vibe will leave that building too. You know what I mean? Once Snyder leaves, he most definitely all the negative comments, all that stuff that he was doing, it's gone. So that's fresh house there. Then if if he can't do as well and he leave and Eric Bieniemy step up and be the head coach, that's fresh. That's good talent. Sam Howell is not the best quarterback. I understand that's your frustration with Sam Howell, but Sam Howell is a decent quarterback. He was able to move your offense a little bit last year, a little bit more than Heineke, just a little bit better.
I would have definitely loved him more than Carson Wentz. That dude was holding us back.
That was the wrong move. I don't know why people had their high hopes up on Carson Wentz. He deserved to be a backup, or he deserved to be in the XFL.
I mean, look, man, I told everybody I damn sure didn't want Carson Wentz because in Indianapolis, he was supposed to flourish and succeed. You had Frank Wright as your dude there. You had that offensive line. Jonathan Taylor led the NFL in rushing in 2021. So you had every opportunity for you, if you're Carson Wentz, to flourish, and you failed. You go to Washington. The rest of the NFC East is familiar with you. Philadelphia, Dallas, New York, and they think this dude in Washington is going to actually do something. Nah, he ain't going to do shit. He ain't going to do a goddamn thing for us in Washington. I saw more from Taylor Heineke, and I saw more from Sam Howell. But speaking of Sam Howell, he was drafted in the 5th round out of North Carolina. And in case if we don't get Caleb Williams, there's another quarterback by the name of Drake May. I wouldn't mind if we get our hands on him if we end up getting a top 5 pick. But Sam Howell, when you look at him, 6'1", 225, got a strong enough arm. People rave about his quiet leadership. They rave about, his awareness. How do you feel about him?
From the little pieces I seen from him last year, I think he's a decent quarterback. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be the guy that wins y'all the division. And I don't think he's going to be the guy that can lead y'all. He's not going to be Brock Purdy. But I think that Eric Bieniemy can at least try to see if anything try to get something out of him a little bit, because I like I said, I don't know too much of him, but the when he played us in the preseason, he was kind of moving the ball for y'all. He was able to play bully ball a little bit, because he's not a quarterback that you're going to take down in one hit. Because like you say, he's 6'1", 2 something. So you know what I mean, he has that round body enough that maybe a DB is not going to take him down, but a linebacker is most definitely going to have to be the one that takes him down. So I see the potential. I'm not saying he's going to win y'all the division, but I think he can give y'all a best chance. I don't think that tanking is the route to go.
Then what do you see before I get to the comment? Let's read a little bit of these comments. Your boy Rod says, send Chase Young to the New England Patriots.
You want everybody in the Patriots.
Bill Belichick wouldn't mind him. Bill Belichick knows a thing or two about defense. Guy from Newark, my Ravens going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, this may be the team that could challenge the Cincinnati Bengals in that division if Lamar stays healthy and with that defense. A lot of people keep bringing up the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson. We don't know. We got to wait and tell about that with Deshaun and the Steelers. Look, the only thing that they got is Mike Tomlin. I mean, man has never had a losing record under his watch. I mean, and he a black dude. I mean, I'm happy that he's still in the NFL, man. I don't know how he does it. And then Another comment from Rod. Jacoby Brissett, aka Jason Campbell 2.0. That's actually that's a pretty good comparison. Jason Campbell was actually solid during those times in Washington. I mean, I can't discount that. But let's talk about the rest of the Washington Commanders offense. We got Terry McLaurin, who is, a lot of people say he's a top 10 receiver in the NFL. We got a dude in Jahan Dotson out of Penn State, had a good year. And and he's been talking about how this is going to be a breakout year for him. How do you feel about with the Commanders' offense? I mean, because there are some questions about the offensive line. We're not there with the offensive line. But when you look at some of these pieces, we do have some potential. It's just the issues with the offensive line and the quarterback. But how do you feel about it?
I think that y'all got, like I said, you got great potential. I can see y'all. McLaurin is most definitely knocking on the door of being one of the top wide receivers in this game. So if Eric Bieniemy can most definitely open up some offense for him, I think that that's going to be Sam Howell's guy. I think that you're going to see a lot of that Sam Howell and McLaurin action. Dobson, pretty decent guy. I like him. He's aggressive. The only thing I don't like about it is his durability a little bit. You know, at times he's not in the lineup a lot. So if he can stay durable this year, I think that y'all have some pieces that can scare some teams that's not a strong playoff run. You know what I mean? So I think that as long as y'all can take care of the games y'all supposed to have, I think that y'all can make some noise. Now, like I said, I don't see y'all climbing past the Cowboys or the Eagles, but the Giants are still wide open a little bit. Saquon Barkley still haven't signed his tenure yet, so you're going to be having that little bit of dysfunction a little bit with the Giants. So, and I'm still not really sold on Danny Dimes yet of being the quarterback for the Giants. So
his agent got to be agent of the year.
Oh, most definitely. I thought Jalen Hurts had the agent of the year, but Danny Dimes, whoever his agent is, man, woo! Shout out to you.
Yeah, he definitely does. But and also shout out to Jalen Hurts' agent, Nicole Lynn. I think that's her name.
Yes,
that's
sir,
what happens when you give a black woman, an opportunity. Watch what they can do. Your boy God from Newark, he says Sam Howell's gonna look better than he actually is because of Eric Bieniemy. EB might be your next head coach. I don't rule out that possibility, but if Sam Howell, if he could be at best a top 10, top 12 quarterback, and he could actually get us a couple of division titles, I wouldn't mind that because we haven't had a solid quarterback in a while, going back to Kirk Cousins. Because Kirk Cousins had multiple seasons of 4,000 yards, but the problem with Kirk Cousins, dude who just can't win the big games,
and he wanted that bag.
But one thing we know for a fact with Kirk Cousins, homeboy knows how to get paid. That's the fact right there.
Fully guaranteed.
Brandon Tillman, he said, how many years did Washington Commanders sign Daron Payne? Actually, I'm reading it right here. A league source confirmed to The Athletic. It's a 4-year, $90 million contract, including $60 million guaranteed. So happy for Daron Payne. Had a great season, best year of his career last season, double-digit sacks, made the Pro Bowl. So very happy for him. And also, folks, I put in a question in the comment section, Washington's record for the season. I hope, I mean, you may disagree with me about taking for the season, but it's real. But in all honesty, I see this team possibly going maybe 6-11, 7-10 at best, because I just don't see them winning the division because Dallas, they got a great defense. The only issues with them is the quarterback that they have in Dak Prescott. I don't think Dak is top 10. I just don't see that. You look at the Eagles, they loaded. They should matter of fact, they should call themselves the Philadelphia Bulldogs because they keep acquiring talent from the Georgia team. They get Jalen Carter, then they get Dean. They get all these dudes, man, from Georgia. I mean, winners. I mean, what more could you possibly ask? And then when you look at the Giants, they got to find a way to take care of Saquon. And unfortunately for Saquon, the running back situation, because at 26, you know, may not be an opportunity. I mean, you got to find a way to take care of that money. So, I'm gonna read a couple of comments. Rod said Sam Howell is not the guy, and the Commanders will be drafting a quarterback from Howard. Well, Howard University. I mean, if we get another black quarterback, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, Doug Williams was the first black quarterback in Super Bowl history to win a Super Bowl, so I wouldn't mind that at all. And Washington Commanders can beat the Cowboys. This is what Brandon said. I wouldn't rule that out though,
Yeah, I
because
wouldn't rule that out either.
yeah, I wouldn't rule that out because again, we saw what Washington did last year in the season finale against the Dallas Cowboys. Brandon, I'm just saying, Barry, who does a great job at the Grid Network. Anyone who knows him is a Dallas Cowboy fan. I don't think he would like that comment. But because it's my show, I don't give a damn what Barry has to say. The hell with him with his Dallas Cowboys. Love Barry, but I can't stand Dallas Cowboy fans. They are just as delusional as it gets, man. Let's continue on with the Commanders, man. I've told y'all about that stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That stadium is a shit show, bro. That may be the worst stadium. Dev, I know you've seen the videos of when Jalen Hurts was about to leave the stadium. You saw the fans falling in, man. How do you feel about what's it going to take for the Commanders with the new ownership to turn it around and become a winning establishment?
It's going to have to start from the top, like you said. That ownership is going to have to be willing to spend money because, like I said, a stadium, they supposed to do maintenance on the stadium every year. It's no way in hell that y'all stadium should be falling apart like that. Like, who's y'all maintenance crew? They need to get them on the line, man. But the ownership most definitely is going to have to take money. But I think y'all Commander fans have to start raving about a new stadium. I think that calling in, sending letters, putting up signs, riding, maybe not even going to the FedEx Field as much to show that a new stadium is most definitely deserved and be put in DC. You can't be called Washington Commanders if you're not even gonna be in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But the one thing they definitely gonna do, they have a ton of money in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a ton of money. The money is not going to be the problem. The problem is how are you going to attract free agents to come play in Washington? How are you going to make yourself an attractive commodity?
I think that the way you make yourself an attractive commodity is start winning. Tanking ain't gonna make you a high commodity, but I think that if Eric Bieniemy, the guy, the offensive coordinator that we know that he is, if he can somehow win some of these games to actually have Washington in playoff position, things, I mean, it can start looking appealing that people would love to come to Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, definitely, man. And the good thing about it with Sam Howell, he's making less than $3 billion. So we have enough money right there. So we don't have to worry about that. And besides, we have enough money, folks. And according to Pro Football Focus, they did a report. They say that Washington is ranked 9th as far as the salary cap health and so on and so on. So Washington, good thing about us that we have some money. We just have to change the culture. And I think with EB, once EB becomes a head coach, he could change the culture, not just for the Commanders, but more importantly, black coaches.
Yes.
Because we too many. I mean, as you said, he should have been a head coach sooner, a lot longer. And I feel like if he could change the culture, then is this going to be the opening for more black coaches becoming head coaches, man?
I believe so. Like I said, it should still be more. It should be way more black coaches now. I believe that Brian Flores should be a head coach again. I think he will be a head coach again. I think when the Steelers went and put him on as his defense, like a linebackers coach, I think that's where he was. opened up the door for him again. And now he's the defensive coordinator in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the doors will be opening for black coaches soon.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna get into that. Let me read a couple more of these comments right here from Rob. Brandon is smoking that Zaza, LOL. I mean, I wouldn't rule that out, man. I mean, the Commanders, who knows? They may actually challenge the Cowboys. They may win
Come
one
on,
game.
Rod. You know you ain't really sold on the Cowboys either. Come on now.
He a Cowboy fan?
No, he a Patriots fan.
Oh, okay, okay.
Pretty sure he ain't sold on the Cowboys either, though.
Brandon said he'd be all right. Rod responded again. Morgan State Stadium, Towson University Stadium looks better than FedEx Stadium. That is I will not argue about that. That's all I'm going to say. I've said before that FedEx Stadium ain't nothing more than a shit show and a clown show. That's all I'm going to say with that. And an interesting comment from Brandon. He said, I could see Tyler Huntley coming to Washington. You want to respond to that?
I do see Huntley leaving Baltimore soon. I feel like he's showing that he can be a quarterback that can fight for a starting job. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of teams is probably not going to want to take this gamble, but Tyler Huntley is a okay quarterback. Now, at times he might force things, or he might see things too late. I think, let me put it right there. I think Tyler Huntley see things too late. If he can pick up his IQ of seeing things a little bit earlier, Tyler Huntley, because he has a good arm, he has good accuracy, he's mobile. So I can see us using him as a trade bait because I believe he signed with us for at least another year or two. So I can see that happening eventually.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, since you had a problem with me putting Justin Herbert 5, who is your top 10 quarterbacks before we wrap it up, man? Because we got one more conversation.
I would like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Oof.
This in order, or you just naming people?
I'm just naming people off the top of the dome right now.
Okay.
Let's go with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Is that 4? Lamar will be my 5th. Justin Herbert will be my 6th.
Okay.
My number 7 can be let's throw Trevor Lawrence in there. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to take a nice step up this year. He's number 7. Number 8, I'm gonna give it to Aaron Rodgers. Number 9, I like Geno Smith.
Ooh,
and
I've been
Geno.
telling folks Geno's gonna be a top 10 quarterback. I've been telling people Geno's a top 10 quarterback. A lot of people feel like I'm just losing my mind, but people thought 1 year ain't enough. But I told folks, look, I'd rather take him at this point than Russell Wilson. But your boy Rod said Tyler Huntley, aka Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor had a good career, honestly. We was had opened the door for him. He was our backup quarterback during the time. Only thing about Tyrod Taylor, he wasn't able to keep that starting job long. He was able to be the starting quarterback to start the season off, but it was always something, either dealing with an injury. The last he was dealing when he's with the Chargers, he was dealing with a punctured lung because one of the trainers had ejected a needle too far into him. So that's the only thing about Tyrod Taylor. Like he had the tools to be a good quarterback in this league. He got a strong arm, he had good accuracy, but it was just durability for Tyrod Taylor.
All right. Now, man, we got one last subject. As we know on the Commanders Demand podcast, we're going to do start, bench, or cut.
Okay.
Because it's you, and we all know you're a Ravens fan, I'm going to add one of your players. Okay. I'm going to add one of my players, and I'm going to add one of the players in the NFC East. One of Barry's players on his Dallas Cowboys. Because we love Barry. We got nothing but love for Barry, even though he is crazy as hell about his Dallas Cowboys. But I got to make it fair. So let me add this. Let's see. We can do it right now. Start, bench, or cut. Mark Andrews, the tight end of the Baltimore Ravens, one of the top three, or in Dev's case, top two tight ends in the NFL, only behind the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce. You got one of Barry's players on the Dallas Cowboys, CD Lamb, who is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, and also, like Mark Andrews, plays at the OU, Oklahoma, folks. I'm an OU type of dude. You see the OU helmet. Love me some OU. And of course, Terry McLaurin. So, Dev, I'm going to let you go first. Start, bench, or cut between one of the three. And people, comment in if you want to add your opinion.
Of course, I'm being biased. I'm starting Mark Andrews. You know what I mean? Off top. That ain't even no question about it. I'm starting with Mark Andrews. Mr. Guy that's, like I said, top two tight end in my opinion. Mr. Guy that's reliable. It's always available. It's always can get open. There's not many linebackers or safeties that can really play with Mark Andrews. So I'm gonna start off with Mark Andrews. I will bench Terry McLaurin. I would bench him.
Okay.
I believe he's going to be, like I told you in early in this episode, I think that he has potential of being a top 10 wide receiver. And CD Lamb, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut you for the simple fact that sometimes CD Lamb you doesn't be there when you are called on. It's been many a times that they was looking for you as to be the number one wide receiver, the guy, but sometimes CD got the case of dropsies. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut him.
Barry gonna kill us.
I know he gonna kill us.
but at the same time, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna take Terry McLaurin. I'm gonna start him, and the reason why I'm gonna start him, and hold on before I get into a guy from Newark, I agree. Start Andrews, Scary Terry, and cut CD. I'm gonna flip it. I got start Terry McLaurin. Start Terry McLaurin because the past 3 seasons he's had over 1,000 receiving yards. And look at the quarterbacks he's had to work with. From God rest his soul, Dwayne Haskins, to Kyle Allen, Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, Alex Smith, and he's still able to produce. I mean, to me, and shout out to my our boy Bryson, his podcast, Carving It Up podcast. He made a great comparison of Terry McLaurin. He is the DeAndre Hopkins, because when you look at DeAndre Hopkins, not in terms of talent, but in production, before he had Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray, look at the shitload of quarterbacks he's had to work with. Matt Schaub, Case Keenum, Brock Osweiler, Tom Savage. You know, is there any other quarterback I'm forgetting during his time in Houston before he had Deshaun Watson? TJ Yates. I forgot TJ Yates. And then Deshaun Watson, and to a lesser extent, Kyler Murray, have been the best quarterbacks he's worked with. And I hope D Hop gets an opportunity. I've told people, and you may not like this, what I'm about to say, Dev, I think he should go to Kansas City so that he. No, I mean, it would be office for days, and you may not like hearing, not like that. So I got start Terry. Bench. Boy, this really is a tough one for me because Mark Andrews, CeeDee Lamb, both of them are from OU, Oklahoma. Sorry, CD, but I'm benching Mark Andrews. I'm benching. Mark Andrews is better at his position than you are. Mark Andrews, I think he's one of the top 3, top 4 tight ends in the NFL. I mean, there's Kelce. I mean, we disagree with the 2. You have Andrews. I still have Kittle up there. You can make an argument Mark Andrews over Darren Waller, even though Darren Waller is bigger, more explosive, but Mark Andrews is consistent. He's productive. So, and he's available. So the best ability is availability. So, and cut CD because, you know, the past couple of seasons, he had the issues, as you mentioned, with them drops. But I think last year he got better and better. He established himself as the number 1 wide receiver. So start Terry McLaurin because you can make the argument he's a better wide receiver than CD because
Mm-hmm.
he's still able to produce. I think he's more athletic than CD Lamb and got better hands. Benchmark Andrews because he's better at their positions. Mark Andrews is a top 3, top 4 tight end. Terry McLaurin is a top 10 wide receiver as well as CD. So start Terry because I'm being biased, just like you. Benchmark Andrews, cut CD. That's how I look at it. But your boy Rod had something to say. Cut
he,
Mark Andrews
he
about to
always
have
trolling.
Dennis Pitta hips. LOL.
He always trolling, man. Don't worry about Rod. That's my guy, though.
And he responded one more. Ravens tight ends have more miles than Baltimore police cars. He sounded like he trolling, man. I
Yeah,
mean, is
always
he hard
trolling,
like this
man.
on your podcast?
Yes. That's him, man. Like I said, man, good guy though, man. He brings that entertainment.
All right. And guy from Newark, he responded, haha. Fellas, in the comment section below, how do y'all feel about it? Which one of the 3 would you rather start, bench, or cut with between Mark Andrews, Terry McLaurin, or CD Lamb? Dev said it himself. He starts Mark Andrews, bench Terry McLaurin, cut CD Lamb. I said start Terry McLaurin, bench Mark Andrews, cut CD Lamb. The only thing we agree with, cut CD. No disrespect to CD.
No
Maybe,
disrespect.
I mean, I hate saying that because I'm an OU dude, but at the same time, I don't mad because again, I love pissing off Dallas Cowboy fans. Even though I ain't got nothing to brag about as a Commanders fan in terms of winning, one thing I love more than anything else is pissing off Dallas Cowboy fans, and Barry is the perfect example. So, Dev, my man, thank you for hopping on to the podcast. Please let our audience know where to find you, man.
Man, you're gonna also check out At the Bank, also on the same network as my man Purnell. You feel me? You catch us on the Grid Network. I drop every Saturday morning. My first live stream show of At the Bank will be this Saturday at 10 a.m. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all comment. Make sure y'all share it, man. And also make sure y'all check out My Thoughts, My Opinion Sports Podcast. Also, as I'm sitting here, give you general sports topics such as the NBA and the NFL. Right now, I have my 109th thought out right now, talking about Dame and this free agency. So make sure y'all go check that out on YouTube. Make sure y'all go follow the Grid Network. Also, you can catch those podcasts on that.
Absolutely, will do. I will definitely check out the podcast Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I'll definitely have a comment. Well, as you all know, folks, that concludes the rest of the Commander's Demand episode. Appreciate Dev for hopping on. It's your boy Sports PSP. Please go like and subscribe to the Grid Network. Please go like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Another Sports PSP podcast, folks, is coming out probably Friday night. We're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to have a lot to talk about the NFL. We're going to have a lot to talk about the NBA, NFL, the Hard Knocks. The New York Jets will be on Hard Knocks. How is Aaron Rodgers going to handle all that? As far as with the NBA, I'll probably talk about Zion Williamson coming on the Gilbert Arenas podcast and what he needs to do differently in order for him to turn around his career. And who knows, we may talk about some other things regarding outside of sports. We may talk about that Kiki Palmer situation. So we'll definitely talk about that. If y'all want to hop on to the podcast, I will always leave the StreamYard link in the comment section below. Feel free to hop in. Like I said, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, social media, etc., etc. Again, appreciate my boy Dev for hopping on for the podcast. And we is out. Peace.